I'd like to stay in the neighborhoods and move on to the next topic. And Chris Coleman, if you'd be the first to address this next question. What is your plan to work with neighborhood organizations, volunteer groups, and nonprofits to address the issue of vacant residential property, boarded up homes, and other casualties of our economic crisis?
First of all, just to put it a little bit in the context, I mean, one of the great challenges that we have faced over these last 4 years was the real acceleration of foreclosures across the city. Not just a St. Paul problem, communities across this country. There's almost every city is dealing with a foreclosure crisis. And it's not just even core cities, it's suburban communities are really facing this. You see a lot of these buildings, a lot of these expensive houses that were built that people lost their jobs and they couldn't afford the mortgage anymore. So this is a nationwide problem, but we've been able to tackle it in a lot of creative ways. We worked with our city attorney's office to create new kind of methods. Working with our lending institutions, we put together a demand letter with 6 of the largest mortgage holders in the city and said that we would need to come to the table and help us figure out a workout plan. A lot of that was developed with our input from our community organizations. If you look at some of the creative work that's happening over in the Dayton's Bluff and the East Side community, trying to figure out how we get some of these houses back online. Working very closely with our Department of Safety of Inspections to really identify which are the worst problem properties. Putting resources, putting actual dollars into trying to get rid of those problem properties quickly. Working with our neighborhood organizations and our libraries to figure out mortgage foreclosure prevention. One of the most important things that you can do is prevent the foreclosure from happening in the first place. We were able to prevent 1,900 foreclosures because we added 6 additional workers in the city that spoke multiple languages that were able to go out and try to work with families to try to readjust their mortgage. So we're doing a lot of work on that front, a lot more to be done.
Thank you. EvaNg, same question.
Well, so some of the foreclosure problems that we have actually is stemmed nationally, but some of it stemmed locally. And especially when I start talking to senior citizens who are on fixed incomes and part-time teachers who actually don't have high incomes, we have been taxing our citizens right out of their own homes. In the last 3 years, we have seen tax increases of 9%, 15.1%, 8.6%, and in 2010 we have another proposed 6%, if not more. And on top of that, we have a whole bunch of fees that went up back to back. We're talking about right-of-way maintenance increases. We're talking about building permit fee hikes. We're talking about paramedic and transportation fees going up, and then sewer and water fees going up year after year. And I'm telling you, there are a lot of senior citizens who came to me and says, please run and make a good run of it because we're being taxed right out of our homes. And they came to me with such hope in their eyes. I wanted to honor that, and I wanted to make sure that I bring this issue out. This is something we cannot continue. We cannot let this go on.
Moving on to the next question, segment of questions. And EvaNg, if you'd be the first to address this question. The audience tonight would like to understand fully what their candidates' views are on the light rail, specifically Central Corridor, how it's going to impact businesses, individuals, families in that area and those that want to use it. So Eva, if you would be the first to address this question, please.
The main reason why I'm running is I want to make sure that everything we do in the city is in the best interest of every citizen here. And now the light rail, well, you know, it's a transportation system. And I think a lot of people like this kind of stuff because the transportation system is a very important part, an integral part of a vibrant city. And so I understand there is merit to light rail, but the plan that we do have in place at this time isn't perfect and is riddled with flaws. And especially is the timing. If it's during an economic upturn, I would think that we could withstand it. But during an economic downturn, the citizens are shouldering a lot of the cost. And this is not a good thing at this time. Especially there is existing rail north of the plan that is in place. Now this plan is roughly $1 billion in cost. And this is before business loss mitigation. And this is before paying off any of the lawsuits, and this is before eminent domain of any of the buildings that are in this way and building parking garages that are necessary. By the time you put all that stuff together, I bet you we're arriving at about $2 billion. $2 billion for roughly 40,000 riders. And not now, but in 2020, we're expecting to have 40,000 riders. That is $50,000 per head. You could send each one of those people around the world in a luxury cruise, buy them SUVs, and give them gas cards at the same time.
Chris Coleman, same question, please. Again, I'll ask the audience to refrain from your applause. I know these are very engaging topics, but it's really important to hear what your candidates have to say. Chris Coleman, same question.
Thank you. One of the things I'm proudest of is that after 30 years of stalling out, 30 years of no movement forward on light rail, 30 years of arguing back and forth over whether this alignment is best or that alignment is best, we are finally beginning construction on the light rail central corridor, or the central corridor and light rail line. Think about that. Think about that community. Think about University Avenue. In the early 90s, when I was the president of the district council in the Frogtown neighborhood, we were trying to figure out how are we going to revitalize our community? How are we going to rebuild University Avenue? How are we going to make sure that our neighborhood was served by a first-class transit system? And it's finally happening. There is construction going on right now to move the utility lines in downtown St. Paul. After 30 years of discussion, I have a Minnesota Daily from March 10th, 1982, that has an article that's talking about finally, after years of discussion about light rail through the University of Minnesota, we're finally able to move forward on this thing. It's about time that St. Paul got its fair share. And if we say no to light rail at this point, we're saying no to development in downtown. We're saying no to the East Metro being a part of a first-class transit system. We're saying no to thousands and thousands of construction jobs along that line. We're saying no to $1 billion worth of investment that will spur another $1 billion worth of private investment. Now is exactly the time to be building that line. Now is exactly time to be investing in the future of the city of St. Paul. It is about time that we begin to construct the light rail line in the central corridor.
Thank you. EvaNg, 1 minute for rebuttal, please.
Now, Mayor Chris Coleman, I know that you are passionate about light rail, but 30 years of discussion means it did not work for 30 years. Why does it work now? We're looking at thousands of construction jobs that are one-time jobs. So where are those people going to go after the next 4 years? And what about the 1,000 businesses that are on University right now? You know, they're going to get their parking taken away from them. They're not going to have the traffic that they're going to have. They spent 24 years over there building their businesses, and they're getting ready to go bankrupt. And a lot of them cannot move. They cannot afford to move, so they're thinking of walking away bankrupt in their 60s. This is a travesty to the businesses along the university corridor. This is not right. This is not the time to do it, sir. We could delay this, and maybe when we do it right with the right amount of money, and we have a great separation where it's safe. We can put it below ground or above ground so that we could have a whole new dimension of traffic system, not just a compromise of the existing.
Thank you.